Hello and welcome to the Goals and Glory podcast with me, your host, Bruce Aitchison, and I am smiling like a wee boy because that is exactly how I feel. When this all started, I read the book Bestie to Beastie to Belgium, and I fell back in love again with that era of Hibs when I was a wee boy. And I got in touch with Colin and we did a podcast about the book. And then he helped set me up with some of the heroes from that book. And today I am absolutely over the moon that this man has been able to give me some time. I'm hoping that this is long enough to get into everything we need, but short enough that he doesn't get bored with my questioning. He's an absolute hero. I loved watching him. We all remember two big stories about this man's time at Easter Road, and we'll definitely get there, but there's a lot more to him. In my chats with him so far, it's like he's an old friend. He's just that kind of guy. He made me feel very easy. And remember, I'm speaking to my hero. So let's bring in the one and the only and waste no more time, Mr. Joe Tortolano. Yes.
How you doing? Thanks for having me, Bruce.
I'm absolutely buzzing, Joe. I'm absolutely buzzing. As I said to you off screen there, I can't wait to get into this. So let's waste no time at all. Now, we're going to rewind all the way back. Usually I start with where people are at the moment, but I'm going to rewind all the way back because we were just talking about you growing up in Stirling, playing some of your football in Tullibody. Now, I used to work in Tullibody at Lawrence Hill Academy, so I know the area very well. A good mate of mine's for the Raploch. So I've got this idea in my head of what it was like, but what was it like for you growing up there?
Well, I actually wasn't brought up in the Raploch. I was brought up in Braehead, which is only about a couple of miles from the Raploch. But I started playing when I was about there was a team called the Market Cross, and they were from the top of the town that looked down onto the Raploch, and it's another really tough area. And my twin, I've got a twin, don't you?
I'm hoping it's Joe I'm speaking to.
Somebody that looks like me. Who would have thought? Double trouble. Well, he signed up about 6 months before, and I couldn't sign because I can't remember the team I was playing with, so I had to wait until my contract was up with this other club. Then we both played for the top of the town. It's called Market Cross, and we're there for about six months. Then from then on, we signed for Tilbury Hearts. When I was 14 I was signed, so I had 3 brilliant years. Then after that I went down to England. I was 16, but it was the notorious Raploch at the time. You're actually very brave to walk through during the daylight rather than pitch black. It was like you don't want to go there. Anytime anybody mentioned the Raploch, you were like, the fear just did the blood drain from your body. And of course, when somebody said, well, where's your home games going to be? They said it was going to be at the Raploch. I was like, you're going to have to give me £1 million a week. I'm even on 13 to play there because they're not the friendliest at the time, you know what I mean? But it was a brilliant start because it toughened you up a lot.
Was football the only distraction?
Absolutely.
Was that just it? That was all you did?
It was football. I was born and I just wanted a ball. That was it. And luckily enough, I had a twin. I was 45 minutes older than him. And obviously you can tell by the looks of the grey hair. He's not got a grey hair on his face. I can't believe he must be doing that daft, what do you call it? Just for men. And so we were always together. So, if you're a single child, you're always looking for somebody to go and play with. But I always had my twin. So we played 24 hours football, and that was the only thing we wanted to do.
And who were you looking up to then? Did you have posters on the wall?
Oh, aye, we did. And you wouldn't believe it because I actually supported Hibs for a while as I was growing up. And he liked, obviously, Celtic because my family were kind of brought up in the Celtic tradition. And I was like, I like Celtic, but I loved the Hibs strip. It was the Buckter with the green and the white shorts. And of course, I think normally when it was when Georgie Best came to Easter Road and played, I went, I'm going to sign a letter to Santa to say I want that Hibs strip. So that's how I kind of got hit. I'm saying I would never believed in 10 years' time I'd be playing for them, at Easter Road in '85. So they were actually one of the teams I supported for a while when I was growing up.
But life could have been so different because you headed off to West Brom, and that's a fair old trip.
It was. Oh, to be fair, when I signed for Tilbury Hearts, when I was 14, obviously there's tons of scouts going to all our games, and they're always offering you to go down at Christmas time, Easter time, the October week for trials. So I went down to West Brom when I was just about 14 myself with my case, right? You know, I was like, my mum used to say, you're just going down for 4 days, you're not going for the fortnight, because I used to put the whole lot in, try to get the wardrobe in there as well and crush it in. She was like, that you just didn't need that, you know, 25 pair of pants, 17,000 t-shirts, and I was like, I'm just going for a week. So, but that was daunting for somebody at 14. I was going down the train myself to Birmingham, and at the time there was the riots at the time, the Handsworth riots in 80, I think it was about 81, 81, and I was like getting in off the train, going to get the bus to West Brom and getting picked up again for one of the guys, and I'm going, there's buses upside down, there's cars upside down. I thought it was in Baghdad at the Ratlock again. And I was going, nah, I want to get back home, get back up the road. And I said, I'm not going anywhere. But then somebody went, stay a wee bit longer. It's not like this. I'll be finished next week. I was like, there's no cars on the road left. They're all burnt to a cinder. So that's the kind of wake-up call, and it kind of made me grow up very, very quickly. And so every holiday I went down to England to play for West Brom, went to Leicester, went to, my brother could have signed me Leicester, but he didn't want to leave home. And I was certain he was going to sign for Leicester. But he didn't at the last minute. He just wanted to stay. He was too much of a home bird, I think. So then I decided at 16 to, I could have signed with Dun United. Jim McLean was at my house on the night before I decided to agree to go to West Brom. And I was absolutely panicking there, Bruce. Oh my God. Bruce, it was like Jim McLean, you know what I mean? And he was so nice, obviously, to get me to sign, you know what I mean? I played against their first team when I was 15. I played against Richard Gough. And by this time, I had no fear. I tore him to shreds. But but after that, I just decided to go to West Brom, and he just went out the door and he left. Never even said goodbye or anything. So I went, well, that's a good start. Thank you very much.
There's not many folk turned him, dude.
No, I was very brave, but my dad was quite big, so I made sure I was behind him. Tell him I don't fancy it. You bloody tell me. I mean, but sometimes you think, what it'd been like if I did go to United. Do you know what I mean?
They were decent.
They were one of the top dogs in Europe, and they were beating Rangers, Celtic, and Aberdeen and Dundee with the best teams at the time. So it was kind of thinking, well, nah, I just liked England. I just thought I'd try it out, and because I knew if I wasn't, be good enough, I'd be able to get a team when I came back up the road. So
that's brave though. Like I know, like West Brom, at the time, that's something to aspire to, but totally out your comfort zone to go down there. No mobile phones, no internet, no.
Absolutely.
You must have. That's a big leap of faith. You must have been confident.
Well, I was always confident because nobody knew me. But one thing about the West Brom people, because I was there all the time. I mean, I was down there about 4 or 5 times a year, Bruce. So they knew what I could do, and obviously they were desperate to sign us in the end. But it was like, remember, I was like down there at 14, 15, then I signed 16, and it was like in digs with this other guy for Stoke, and we were in the same boat. And after the first, we were allowed back up after 2 months, and I couldn't wait to get up that road to come back. Because others going to this and going to that, and I'm going, here's me sitting in the house listening to the Brummie accent that I couldn't understand. You know what I mean? And I was going, I wish they bring back Strictly Come Dancing or something. But so that was for me the big maturing into into a man, because you had to grow up quickly. You had to make your own decisions. I didn't have my mum and dad to go to. I thought, no, I'm going to do this and try and make it work. And it was absolutely a brilliant time. Just unfortunately lasted for 3 years, because in my last year I ended up getting glandular fever. So I wasn't in a good state when then it didn't give me another year, and I just came back up the road after that.
Did you get better as a player?
I think you'll get better when as you get older. Because you get more experience. How to demand for playing at the top. It's a total different ball game when you're young, fit, and you've normally not got a care. You know what I mean? Then when you play against good players, you want to thrive on that. As you get older, you then pass on your experience to the up and coming youngsters that are coming through. But to be fair, it was I didn't want to leave West Brom. And I actually asked them, give me, because I come back. I think I was down to about 10 stone or something like that. I've actually gained 10 stone now. So I was a bit upset with that, but I just decided. As soon as I came back, Bruce, it was right. I got a phone call within. I think the Scottish clubs get players that have been released from clubs in England, and within 1 day in the house, I got a phone call from what do you call it? The Hearts.
Alec McDonald.
I can't believe I actually went there, but I didn't know the rivalry between us and them. And of course, I just was like, I will just go then and I'll just see how it was. And actually, I really enjoyed it because I knew John Cahoon. He's from Stirling, and Kenny Black, who stayed in Larbert. So we used to get John would pick me up, then we go to Hearts train pre-season, fittest I've ever been. They just run you into the ground, lifting tyres and up sand dunes. I thought I was going to the Blackpool Beach with the shovel and the spade. Then he went, just put that to the side, Joe, stand there, you're running. I was like, what's happening here? So I was sick about 5 times, and I was like, it was a nightmare. Then after that, he said I wasn't good enough to Alec McDonald, and that stuck with me for a hell of a long time. And actually, on the day he said it, I went home, told my mum and dad, and they said, didn't worry about it. I says, there's been another man on the phone. And I said, all right. I says, what's his name? I think his name's Blakely. And I went, brilliant, I'm going to be a bus driver on the buses. Oh, what? I said, I've just been, and my next job is a bus driver. Brilliant. Is it a single decker, a double decker? And I think it's Blakely. I was like, right, okay. So he's going to phone at 5. So the 5 o'clock phone went. I went, hello. He went, hello, it's John Blackley. And I'm sitting there looking at my mum going, you shit. I'm like trying to get the shirts and the tie organised in my hat and my waistcoat. Ding, ding, take his sleep. It was John Blackley. So I talked to him, and then I went to Easter Road 2 days later, and then I went and signed a 3-year contract just after that. So, upside down for suddenly getting nobody, being rejected, and suddenly another, the mighty Hibbies came in and offered me, so I couldn't wait to sign.
So when a couple of months, I suppose, you get released for West Brom, and Hearts tell you're not good enough.
Aye.
What does that do to a young man?
Well, this is where I think the upbringing I had as a kid, very strict family and very strict rules. Then when I went to England myself, you had to be a man. As soon as no messing, or you get fun out. So I think that helped me a lot, and I was so determined to show them that I could play, and I was absolutely so determined to prove them wrong. And of course, when I signed, my first thought was, when's that next Hearts game? And I made sure I tried to get myself in the team. I think I just missed out the first one. I think I played the second one at Easter, but I can't vaguely remember it. But I just couldn't wait because I was so determined to, maybe make a goal or score a goal in the last minute and run right to that dugout and get the shorts down and flash right in front of Alan. Well, that would have been brilliant, eh? The Hibs fans would have loved that.
Hero forever. Was there anybody at West Brom was there any of those older players that you sort of mentioned? Was there anybody you looked at and thought, that's a pro, that's how to do it, or there's somebody that's given me an example?
There were a couple of guys, because at the time, it was old First Division at the time. There's no the Premiership, it was old the First Division 1, 2 and 3 and 4. So West Brom were top 14 nearly every year. And they had like Cyril Regis, the Derek Statham, all these guys, they all played for England. And I thought that I was going to be struggling to get in the first team. I played twice when I was 17. One in a pre-season friend, and I played against Stoke in a cup tie. And by this time, I hadn't a care in the world, and I was, I was quick, and everything was just perfect, and I was ready for that. But I was saying, well, the guys that I'm going to take over, they were about maybe 24 or 25, and Derek Stair and Stevie Hunt, they were in the England squad, so I could see myself and say, I'm never going to get in this first team here, not unless they get injured or the other left back's going to play. So I was a wee bit disillusioned, but I just wanted to try England. There's a lot of Scottish guys down there who I looked up to, but the place was brilliant. The guys were superb, and if any time you wanted to speak to any of the first team players, they would take you to the side and speak to you and try and help you. And you kind of have a wee bond with the guys that you play with all the time. And when we used to go out on a Saturday night, I was going out with the big guys, and I was only 16 at the time, still in my wee shorts and my braces and my school bag, with the plates in it, and my watering jug, and they were all sitting there steaming. I was going, is this what it's like to be famous? And it was like going, it seems no bad to me. All that glass of with the plastic water just with beer, Paul. But it was a brilliant place. It was a brilliant at the time, but you had to. There was no prisoners. You know what I mean? You had to be in in the top of your game all the time, and that was my learning curve as a apprentice for a year and a half. Then suddenly signing pro forms. Then there was no more cleaning the dressing rooms, cleaning the boots, picking up the kit before all the training sessions, and cleaning the whole stadium after the games and all that. Now it's like these guys it's a luxury for they just go like, I don't want to do that. The guys walking about with the headsets and their phone, you scraped their dirt off their own boots ever in their life. You know what I mean? And I had to look after 7 boys to look after it in your first team, so they would give you all your gear, and at Christmas time, if your gear or your boots are dirty, they used to come back and go, Joe, you've missed a bit, and it was like a millimetre of dirt. They were like, you better get that cleaned, you know what I mean? Or you want to get a Christmas bonus off them. So you get a Christmas bonus at the Christmas time. I had 7 players. I sometimes would get about maybe 200-300 quid, and I think you're a millionaire. Is it? Cleaning boots is for me.
I don't want to look back too much with the sort of rose tinted specs to that, but what was the point of that? Why is that stopped? Why do young players not have to do that now?
I haven't got a clue. I think they just get their heads wasted with the agents that are floating around, and they're there to play football, and they're there to learn football, not to learn to do changing rooms, boots. They clean up the rooms after it and picking their gear up. And I mean, I did some absolutely, bogging, dressing rooms. And then the guy would come in, the kit man would come and inspect it. And if he said that's not clean enough, he had to get the gear back off and put a pair of shorts on and flip flops and go and clean it all again. And it made you kind of disciplined, you know what I mean? But these guys nowadays, in my work, we had contracts at Rangers, and you should see there, it's like there's no danger. You see these guys cleaning any boots. I think they've got a kit man who does all the stuff there, and these guys just train. If they want to do a bit extra, they'll stay back and then they'll go home. They don't do the chores that the guys at my age at that time were doing. And you can ask anybody that done all that. You'll ask Mickey Weir, Kano, Gordon Hunter. They all done their chores. They were sweeping that Easter Road terraces every second day, and that was part of being an apprentice. And then once that's done, then you get back to the football. You know what I mean?
So when you got to be a pro, was that just like the sun was shining, there was music playing? Was that just the holy grail?
Oh, definitely, because you can't actually believe it, because you're thinking, right, this is I've done the hard work, and I actually thought to myself, name me your bloody toilets. Name me a plunge in. I thought, yes. And it was just a relief to say, right, then I can start to concentrate. And obviously it went okay until my last 6 months, and I got glandular fever, and I lost all my strength, my weight, and he never gave me another 6 months, another year. He just, for some reason, didn't think I was good enough. That was the legendary Johnny Giles, by the way. He played with Leeds. And I said to myself, what does he know? I just thought, wait a minute, can I say that? He's one of the best players Leeds history. No, you can't say that, Joe. I'm thinking about something else to think, you know. Nah, we'll just leave it. See you later. Took case up, back up the road, and I was like, yes, back home to my mum and dad's and my brothers and all my mates. And I thought, yes, that's me. I've done my time and I'm ready for a new challenge. So then, of course, the Hearts phone call, then the Hibs. And that, so it moved quite quickly after that being rejected down in England, which I thought was a bit harsh.
With that, when you're coming back up the road, was the intention still I'm going to be a professional footballer?
Absolutely. There was no other job apart from the bus driving, which I thought it was a 6-month course. I thought that would be a bit long and I couldn't survive on no money for 6 months. So I just know I was wanting to be a professional, and I knew I was good enough to play, and that I was just very, very fortunate that, because obviously when you go to a club, you've got to impress right away. You know, there's no point thinking, he's okay, but is he going to be beneficial for the team, and can we use him, and or we're wanting to sign him? And I think that's the feeling I got, to say that, right, we'll get him because he looks pretty good. We can work on his you know, his touch and all this, whatever needed to be done. So I was like, yes, that's me, and I'm ready. And I think it took me a couple of months to get my debut. I think I knew that I can remember the team, but I can't remember the month for my debut. So I was there about 2 months. I think so. I just bided my time and I played a few reserve games. And I think Joe McBride, who I thought was brilliant for us, he done his cruciate, or he broke his leg or something in '85, and he was off for a year, and that's when I got my chance.
And you signed a 3-year contract, but
yeah.
So how does that happen? You get a phone call from Blakey off on the buses.
Yeah,
you then go 2 days later. You're at Easter Road. Does he just have a bit of paper ready for you to sign, and you just read it and sign it? Do you go through it? Do you let your old man read it?
You have to obviously watch us first in training for a couple of days, and I think it was more or less one day I had. I was so determined to get signed, and I was finding all that the training and all the running was very easy for me. And Johnny Collins came over, and I've got a great bond with Johnny even now. And he was so nice, and I thought, this guy's brand new. I'll maybe try and stick with him for a couple of days. And he was telling me about certain things and how the club works, and keep away from him. He's bad. Did he go near him because he'll do you? And I was like, my head was like, okay. And there's the toilet, and then there's the kitchen. I went, right, because I didn't know anywhere. The dressing rooms, I've never been there before. So Johnny took me down to the gym. This is where I go all the time. And I says, right, I'm looking at your physique. I'm saying, right, he does the gym obviously. And then, but all the players would just introduce themselves to myself, and I thought, definitely this is the right environment for me. So it was just a matter of time to go and show what I could do, and I had to do it, obviously quite quick. So they gave me a couple of reserve games. Then Joe unfortunately had done his ligaments. Then I got in for there. I can't remember the month, Bruce. I couldn't tell you, I forget. But I was ready, and I was determined, and had this back in my mind thing. I'm always wanting to prove people wrong. It's the way I've been brought up, and this Hearts game, when it was coming, was on my mind all the time, and I was going like hell to try and get myself ready for the, if selected, I'd be ready. So
how did the contract bit work then? Does John did you say, oh no, I need a wee bit more money than that per week? Was it how does that bit work?
Well, they offered me £250,000 a week. That's not enough, pal. I've got 225 million in debt. I get that to my landlady in West Brom, so she's next week. So he said, right, okay, they just say, right, we're going to give you 3 years, and we'll get you this and that, and the next thing. I just more or less says, I'm not caring, I'm just signing it. It's going to be security. I was confident in myself that I was going to get in the team eventually, and I just went like, I didn't even I didn't even ask my mum and dad. I just went and signed it all by myself. This is me being, single-minded again, being brought up to think for myself. And I went back and told my mum and dad. And she went, "Oh," that was it. She went, "That's good. What time? What time you want up? What time you want up in the morning?" I was like, "Oh, I find that the thing's called alarm clock, so I'll get one, and I'll just go and set it, and I was away." But because it was Edinburgh, it was always a train in the train every day. So my dad took me from the house to the train station, dropped me off, and he went to his work. So I was lucky that way until I got my first car. So it's another change and another new start, at a different club. But I knew it was the right club for me because I just knew the guys and Tommy Craig and the manager were, obviously experienced and were going to make me, hopefully make me a better player.
Who of the boys became your crew? Like, because it was quite a young squad coming through there. They had to do that, didn't they? They had to bring through the young team.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I don't know if you remember Kevin McKee.
Yeah.
Kevin McKee, who went to Hamilton about a year late after I was there. I used to play against him when I played with Tilbury Hearts. He played for, I think it was Duke Clopumferson he played for, so I knew him. And with some tussles during the younger days, because he played on the right and I was on the left, so I played against him and got very pally with him. And Callum Milne, who I got really pally with at the time, the nickname the Thug. I says, "What's your name?" "I'm Joe." He says, "My name's Callum." I went, "Oh, what's kind of man voice? You're only 16, like." He's going, "But you can call me the Thug." That's what you call it. I went, "All right, Thug." I was like, no other name but the Thug. So I went, "Right, okay, don't go near him." So there's one of them. But all the guys, then Johnny Collins, and because I was not a first team, all the first team were dressed in one dressing room. The reserves trained in another dressing room. So I was with the youngsters and the reserve players until I was good enough to go into the first team dressing room.
So how does that work? Do you get a tap on the shoulder when you walk into training one day and say, "Joe, you're in there today"?
Aye, it was more or less that they'd say, or they'd come in and say, "Right, you'd want if they're doing drills or match practice on something, they maybe say, right, I want Joe Tortolano, Kevin McKee, and Mickey Weir, and Johnny Collins or something like that." And or the cheer would go like that. "Oh, first team!" I'm like that. I was kicking myself because I knew he's not messing about here. Here's my chance. You know what I mean? But then they'd maybe give somebody else a chance the next day. You know what I mean? But I was like, the minute I got in that first team, and of course, Jukebox, Gordon Rae was there. He just signed for his Fife, and they used to put me with him because nobody wanted to run out with a big jukebox. And of course, I just got shoved to the front. Somebody says, "Who's want to go and run with jukebox?" So we all started taking 5 steps back. And I think it was big Gordon Rae pushed me about one push. I went flying into the jukebox, the back of his shoulder, smashed my nose, right, blood everywhere. He's gone his Fife accent. I don't know what he said in a Fife accent. So I was sitting there with 2 blooming bog rolls stuck up my nose because I burst my nose on the back of the jukebox's shoulder, and I was trying to run and keep up with him, but I couldn't breathe. I thought it was like getting strangled with blood. So that was a good start. The Tam Martin at the time, he was doing the kit at the time. He went, "For fuck's sake, what happened to you guys? What am I getting green tarts getting off?" I was like, he pushed me to the back of the boat. I was like, and everybody was killing themselves laughing. So it was kind of, I think that was a good breaking in because he knew I was kind of, I'm always up for a laugh. I've got a serious side to me as well, but I probably don't show serious enough all the time because I'm always up for a laugh and I giggle and I carry on. That was what I liked.
Who was the other characters in the changing room that were up for a laugh?
When I first went there?
Aye.
Well, you're talking big Gordon Rae, big Snoddy was brilliant. Wee Bobby Smith, God rest his soul. I was he was at Leicester and I went down to Leicester, so I knew Bobby when I went down. And I used to get Lenny's hairdryer because Bobby had the black soft term, right? And he used to go, Joe T, I'll go, yes, sir, Bobby. You want this hairdryer? Because I'm going to be in 2 minutes. If you want to use that hairdryer, you better use it now. So I'm sitting there because I had the soft perm when I first went to Hibs, right? So it was like half the mullet with the half perm. So he used to give me this tongue machine. It was like it could have killed it. It could kill you. So I'm digging it at the back of my, at the back of my head to try and get the kind of make it curly. And he goes, right, I've got a great way, get a hairdryer. So he was giving me his hairdryer. I thought it was the hairdressers. I says, right, I didn't want to be working with the buses now. I didn't want to be a footballer. I just want to fancy being a hairdresser. Doing soft terms. So, and that's what I did every day. So, and he used to shout, Tortolano, you've got 2 minutes to get that. I used to run into the dressing and start hitting the hair into the blood. Oh, it was brilliant. Like, he was superb. But they were all characters. There's one or two that are quite quiet, you know what I mean? But they were all brilliant, and I loved every one of them.
Who was the enforcer?
Well, there's always the main one, or the leader of the pack. I thought was always Big Gordon Rae, because he was kind of. Didn't get me wrong. Mickey Weir was like, what do you call it? Only Fools and Horses, Del Boy. He was in everything, and Kano. They were into wheeling and dealing all the place. And you left out, and Mickey had the greyhounds at the time. So when I came back for the first train session, I thought, right, I'll have a nice wee walk for Easter Road up to the Waverley to get the train back to Stirling. Mickey went, man, you want a lift? I said, I'm going up there. I said, oh, thanks very much. I was about 2 yards for the door, and I hears, he's sitting here with 4 greyhounds in the back of his car wanting to maul and eat me. Right? And this is them trying to get through the cage in the front seat. I was like, oh my God. Oh, no, Mickey, it's all right. I'll just walk. These flavors and grilling round the back of my neck. And I was like, oh, I said, no, you're all right, mate. I'll just walk. No, just. Well, I was petrified. I was too actually scared to look round because this big, massive face with the teeth and slavers. I was like, nah, this is welcome to Mickey Weir world with the dogs and the pigeons. You get what I mean?
Mickey Weir world.
Oh, he was absolutely different class of you, man. Love him to death.
I remember I was telling you this story, and I said I was going to tell it. I remember you coming down to Kelso for a pre-season game, and you were on the left-hand side, and that was the touchline I was on, and you were screaming at Mickey to switch. Mickey, switch, Mickey, switch. And he tried to beat somebody and he lost the ball. And I remember you turning to us. I was there with my dad and my brothers. He just turned to us and went, he's a greedy wee bastard. and as a wee boy watching, I could just, like, there's a few, you have some memories when you're a kid that are crystal clear. I can see everything about that moment. And it was just, I'd never, like, swearing wasn't a big thing in my house. And you turned to say that. And I can remember in the playground the next day telling everybody what Joe Tortolano had said.
Well, I think there was a lot more swearing as we got older, that's for sure. But there's times where Mickey we all make mistakes, but it's just at the time you could have switched. I can't remember that instant, but he should have gave it to the wife to me, but he didn't. So I wouldn't mess with Mickey. He is mental. Don't underestimate him, by the way. Oh my God, what a man he is.
He always reminded me of Scrappy of Scooby-Doo. He didn't seem to know that he was only this big. He had the heart of a lion, but he was in the body of Scrappy.
Oh, definitely. He was like, he just never gives in. He's got a brilliant attitude, and he was one of my, big heroes. Later on when I left Hibs, and you actually think, well, I played in the same team as Mickey, and we got on brilliantly. And I mean, anywhere you go where I've been to functions, and Mickey is absolutely a legend. Make no mistake about it.
One of the like, again, looking back with my romantic eyes on, there was this thing of you all loved Hibs. Now the game now, you see players on short-term loans and all this kind of thing, and it just messes with my mind a wee bit. I had this feeling watching you guys playing that Hibs meant more than just your employer.
I would probably say that, because I think there was a lot of, especially for the young guys, a lot of the young guys were Hibs supporters, Bruce. So I think if it's, if you're playing for a club that you've supported, since we're knee high. I think that, and I think they take it more to heart, saying it's like a privilege and an honour to playing for the team that you supported, and it goes back to the family before and to go back to tell everybody else saying, well, my laddie plays with the Hibs, and it's just like a big, massive plus. You know what I mean? And you kind of knew who the boys like the big guy has a heart on his sleeve, and he was a massive Hibs man. And Alan Snedden, these guys, I know Snoddy played with Celtic right enough, but I knew there was guys like Paul Kane, Gordon Hunter, Mickey Weir. They were all big Hibs supporters, and these being the terraces. So for them to now be on their books and be able to play in the first team, you always thought that that they're absolutely thriving on it, and I think they're definitely honoured for being a big club like Hibs.
What was it like playing Scotland under 21s?
What I can remember, I played a couple of times and I absolutely loved it. In Republic of Ireland, I think was my first, and played Germany my second cap. Played against, I can't remember the guy that played the German Bayern Munich. I was playing against him, and it was no problem at all. I played with some brilliant players. I can't remember the year, Bruce. I think it was 88 or 89. I got my caps. And if you can look at the team that I played in, and it was all right, Rangers, Celtic players, Peter Grant, Ian Durrant, there was Robert Fleck, Gordon Rae, there was Ken Gallagher, all these big players, Ian Ferguson, and it was like, I'm sitting here going, I can't, you're sitting looking around going, God, I used to watch him on the telly. You know what I mean? There he's sitting right next to me. I can always remember when I made my debut, and I was in outside left, and inside me was Ian Durrant. And I used to say Ian Durrant, I never met him before. I went, how do you like it? He went, just give me any way you want. Give me any way you want. I bet, well, didn't he say that to me? Don't fuck it. The gate will be open, and I'll be through that gate and down the road. And he used to go, Peter Grant used to always tell me to tuck in, because I used to hang out wide thinking I'm a winger. But he always wanted to have this tight midfield four, and he kept on saying to me, see if I've got to tell you one more time, get your effing arse in. So I said after the game, and I had a few beers after the game, and I said, I thought you were a wee bit strong. He went, you didn't gain half it. And I was like, so that's a guy that played with Celtic at 16. I was like, and I just got the message right away. You know what I mean? And I'm sitting going, and you actually see when you go back to your club after being with the internationals, you actually feel as though you're on cloud nine, and you feel as though like you're a multi-million-dollar player and you're on £900 million a week, because you feel as though you're with these great players that are playing with the biggest clubs in Scotland, and you're like, you were part of it. And I had dinners with the first team. Scotland played on one of the games the following day, and we went out for dinner the night before, and I was sitting at a table with Kenny Dalglish, Alan Hansen, Graham Souness, Murdo McLeod was there, Mo Johnson, Alan McCoy was at my table, and I'm sitting there going, oh man, I couldn't even get my fork onto my steak, Ken, and I kind of felt like the tatty was just going to go doing somebody's lap. Oh, sorry, Ken, I couldn't even eat it. I was at yeah, and it was just, and the feeling I'm getting, saying, right, wee man, this is where you want to be. You've arrived. You know what I mean? This is what it's going to be like. And I just had visions that it was going to be right. I want to try and keep on playing in the first team at Hibs, and if I'm successful, I know eventually if I do well and score goals and make goals and keep fit, that I'll probably get a move.
And you go in for the club, so you're with these boys every day, and you've seen them at the weekend, and then you go to an international changing room. Were there folk in the changing room that you thought, I used to hate him, but he's actually all right?
Peter Grant was one of them. Because every time I played against him, he put me in Z. I got on great with Peter, because he had the same agent as me. I don't know if you remember, the boy worked at Hibs, Raymond Sparks.
Yeah.
He was our agent, and he looked after Johnny Collins, myself, and Peter. And when we had to go through sometimes in Glasgow and meet for a meal and all that, and we get absolutely brilliant banter. And I love Peter. He was absolutely different class, but he was a winner. And he wanted everybody to have the same attitude as him. and if you weren't up to it, you'd let you know. And I think that was the way Celtic, like Rangers, they were like that. And that we never had really that. Hibs, we just accept it and in a way until maybe the gaffer or Gordon Rae would maybe come down and top you and slaughter you, but it was quickly forgotten. Then you had to grow up, and make sure it wouldn't happen again. You know what I mean?
And so you're back and you're flying, you're young and feeling like you've got the world at your feet.
Oh, aye, absolutely.
So you're playing for Hibs. How's it going? You're going through your Hibs career. You've got backers. You've become that cult hero. You've got the boo boys on top of you sometimes and loving you other times. How does that impact on your confidence as a player?
Well, as I said to you earlier on, Bruce, the confidence is a huge thing for any player or any sportsman. And on the field, if you're confident, everything will happen. If you're prepared yourself for all the games and your body's right and your mind's right, the confidence will come and you'll try things. They might happen, they might not. When it does, you go on a wave and you get momentum. And up till I never liked saying, but up till Alec Muller came, and I think he was there 87, I think, or 88. I just went downhill for some, I don't know what kind of reason, whether he never played me and I said he ran. What I know now, I should have knew then that say, right, I'm going to show him. Well, I more or less spat the dummy out, which I regretted big time. And it wasn't until later on, later in the 90s, I just made sure, I says, well, I can't be along here to beat this club. I thought, right, I'm just going to give it more. So I changed everything. I changed all my eating pattern. I changed my training. I trained myself two times a day. At night, I went for sleeps in the afternoon. And I definitely felt I was just waiting for this call to get back in the team, and eventually got it. And when I was fit and playing well, I was all right. I was just spectacular, but I was all right. The good times are good, but when the bad times are bad, they're really bad. That's all kind of. I think that was what you got with me.
Were there days you can remember where it just everything was right?
There's been absolutely a lot, and these are the memories I'll always keep and always remember, because I scored some cracking goals, a few that I still remember, and that was when my confidence was high, and I can remember the bad times, and it's a nightmare thinking about the bad times and what, especially for the notorious boo boys, because I think Ali Brazil and Alan Snedden were just before me, who got a lot of pressure for the supporters, and unfortunately it was my turn. And of course I wasn't right, I wasn't fit enough, and it showed. And I kind of got a wee bit disillusioned with the way my career was at that time.
Was there a thing that you thought could have made a difference? Was it the way the team were playing? Was it the manager? Was it yourself?
I think as a player, Bruce, I think you always blame the manager, don't you? If you're not playing, there's obviously a reason, and he needs to pick the best team that are hopefully going to win the game on the Saturday or the Tuesday or the Wednesday night. And if you're not in that his thoughts, and you're not helping yourself, I'd maybe put my hands up and say, well, maybe I should have did better. If I knew now, as I said, I'd love to have changed it back, because I really did it totally different. And when I wasn't playing, I got worse, and I just got out the love of the game, and I was hating it come to a Saturday. But I knew I wasn't playing, so I knew I'd be playing in reserves. But I was always panicking like mad, Bruce, if saying, "Well, my name's on that team list," Then I was like, "Oh no!" I knew the boo boys are ready for me, And I used to go to do the warm ups when I was ready to play. Then they'd name the teams, and you had some laughs because the boys used to say to me, "Joe, how the do you put up with that?" They named the team, and number 2, Alan Snedden, boo. Number 3, Tortolano, boo. It was like 400 coos coming down the field again to mow the hay. And I was like going, and Pat McGinley came up to me and he cuddled me, he goes, "Ken some, Joe, I respect you. He said, because I can't do what you can do. And I couldn't wait to go out. When I'm fit, mentally right and produce, the goods and get them singing Jojo Super Joe, which is only about twice in 12 years, that bad. And I think I had a small recorder up the main stand. And but there's nothing, Bruce, there's nothing better when they're singing your name. And I made a few goals when I played, and there was nothing better running into that Hibs East stand. And I can remember a lot of goals that I made with crosses or just contributing. And that's when it made you feel as though you're 10 feet tall. And I loved that. And I could have run through a brick wall for whoever was the manager at the time.
What's it like when you strike it and it hits the back of the net? That, like, I'm not a believer in thinking. Like, Mo Farah's running down that home straight, and people say, "Oh, what were you thinking?" He says, "Oh, I'm thinking about my family." I think that's rubbish.
Aye.
When you strike it and it's hit the back of the net, there's just that not even a second of pause, and then what happens?
Definitely, you can't believe it really, because I wasn't a perfect goal scorer. It was different if it was like, Darren Jackson, Keith Wright, who scored, Gordon Rae, who scored many goals for Stevie Cowan. They scored every week, and they thrive on goals. But for somebody in a wide area, for free kicks, for that ball hitting the net, and you're actually thinking to yourself, how are you going to celebrate? Will I run to the crowd, then get a couple of pies thrown back at me? I'll just run back to the halfway line and just go back to my position and didn't even look round at the crowd. Sometimes I was like that. But I knew when I got myself right and I knew that I was going to be playing every week, I had to play like Eric Shadler every week, Bruce. That's how I've seen it. I had to be brilliant every week for me to play the following week. Because I knew if I played in that first team and I never done the business, I wouldn't play the next week. I could put my house on it. And then I would go back doing that slippery slope again. Rather than a wee cuddle, like Jose Mourinho and all these guys now, cuddling their players saying, well done, you were rubbish, but you will work on it, and we'll maybe, you know what I mean? And that's the thing, none of the players at that time got you. Shake your hand and that was about it, you know what I mean?
It must have been a good thing for you to hear Pat McGinley saying, "I respect you, Joe," and the other players rallying around you.
Oh, definitely. And I can remember it was against Dundee United, and you'll probably remember the game. We played Rangers at Ibrox, and we got beat 4-2, and I scored an own goal. And it was a great finish by the way, left peg, just fortunately the wrong goal. No, that goal, son, the other one. And brilliant touch in the bottom corner. And of course, Alan McCoy, Mo Johnson coming back, tapped me on the head saying, great finish, wee man, great finish. I let the right elbow came up, and I smacked McCoy at the side of the head, then Balavas in the middle of the blooming halfway line. But I think a lot of the Hibs supporters blame me for that because I made it 2 each. Then Rangers scored 2 free kicks for 30 yards and the 1-4-2. We played Dundee United on the Saturday, and of course the famous announcement for the teams, and I was playing. Oh my God, I heard this, and that's when Pat McGinley came up to me, and that's what he said. They were going absolutely mental, and that was one of the worst times I had as a Hibs player. But I was so determined to get through it and play well. And I think I won a tackle in the first couple of minutes, and I put a cross in or something like that. And a couple of them singing, "Oh, brilliant, Joe!" But it was that hardcore. It was still on my case all the time, and I was desperate to shut them up where it was going to take 6 weeks or 6 months, and that was tough.
Yeah, a tackle quite often does it, doesn't it? It shows that you've still got the ticker.
Yeah, aye. And I think Gordon Strachan kind of set the ball rolling.
Right, you brought that up, didn't you? Now I can remember being at that game and being excited because there was one game, the Sunday afternoon, the match, and the programme started 2 minutes before kickoff. There was no pundits, there was no build-up. You watched the game in England and you watched Match of the Day at the weekend. But to have Man United come and play Easter Road was a big deal.
Oh, absolutely. Because I knew when I went to West Brom, Brian Robson, when I signed, I think you knew because I was signing, he buggered off to Man United, right? And that was the reason I signed for West Brom, because Brian Robson, England captain, I thought, I'm having some of that. He pissed off to Man United, didn't he? Right? And his younger brother played with us at West Brom, Gary Robson. So when I saw Brian, he knew me, he saw, remembered me, and he was pissing himself laughing when I tackled Strachan. He said, "Brilliant tackle, wee man." And so that kind of got it was mistimed, and I got fined with a couple of weeks' wages for that. So it's in the Guinness Book of Records for a fastest sending off in a testimonial. Yes. Oh, for the wrong reasons, Joe. Oh. So allegedly that's what I heard. So I think it was about 6 minutes or something like that.
I can remember he going down the tunnel and my dad saying, "I bet Gordon Strachan will go in at half time and say it's all right," but it was actually the opposite, wasn't it?
Definitely, he was. See, Gordon, Stephen, he played with 2 testimonial games, one for Coventry, and he was boss, and he played for who was the other one? Aston Villa, and we played 2 games for Gordon Hunt and Armstead's testimonial. Yeah. And honestly, Bruce, do you know what he said? Alec Muller came up to us and said, "Right, we're getting Coventry, and Gordon Strachan's the player manager." And I just put the heat down like that, going, "Oh, I know where this is coming, eh?" So Snoddy's nudging me, right? I'm going, "I know he's telling me," and he says, Alec Muller, he pulled me to the side, "We Strachan's asking for you." Yeah, he said to me, is that you bastard still there? Is he still at Hibs? Yes. He went, "Oh, fuck." So Alec Muller made him dress beside me. So we Strachan had his legs all crossed like a wee boy, think we're going to bite him. He was going, Didn't you tackle me?" And he was doing it for a laugh, and the whole place was in uproars. And he was absolutely brilliant, and I loved him as a player, and I loved playing in the same team with him. But he just made everybody relax, and he was just putting jokes out all the time, and he just forgot about the tackle that I did with him, and he was always cuddling me and messing my hair and everything when I was going in the mirror at the end, going ready to go to the hotel and all that. He was absolutely brilliant. So no, fair dues to him. He was superb.
And you got a big fan of Alec Ferguson that night as well, I hear.
I did that. Aye, he came barging into the dressing room. He got slaughtered by Alec Miller. He was saying, "I tell you," he says, "you said no tackling." He says, "and you've got that stupid Italian motherfucker." He was going off it. Alec Miller's going, "Aye, sorry, I did tell the boys no tackling." I was like, "You never said that to me." And he just goes, "That stupid Italian, I'm going to..." And he went berserk again. And of course, I was like, because we had to go to a hotel after it and get a meal and get our decanter and a couple of Hibs wee trophies and all that. And I was like, "There's no way I'm going there." So I said, "I think I'll just stay in the car until Man United players go away to their bed, and I'll just collect my trophy. I think I'll go a trophy with half a trophy because I only played 5 minutes." So it was. I was really panicking because the face was like beetroot red, So aye, that was a kind of another mistake.
I miss those days of testimonials and players being rewarded for that. There was some great guys, like you've already mentioned them, great guys, great service to the club being rewarded. The other thing, whenever I mention Joe Tortolano, if it's not Gordon Strachan, it's a tanning salon.
Yeah, aye, right. What do you want me to say about that then? You needed top, even in the winter snowing. I was going about like anyway. Aye, I can't remember the guy's name. I think it was up in Lothian Road somewhere, Bruce.
Electric Beach.
Electric Beach, aye. And they wanted Johnny Collins. I can't remember the guy's name. His wife came to us after the game and they wanted to sponsor us. And I was like, "All right, so what is it you actually do?" And I was like, "Oh, I've got a sunbed pal." I was like, "Oh, this is brilliant. That'll do me." So I ended up, "We'll come up next Wednesday." And I went up with John. And John, obviously, a bit cute. He's got the top and the shorts on. And Muggins here got the heads or tails, right? You've got the gear off. Oh,
somebody sent me it the day.
That's it. Aye. And I actually see the lady there. See, she wanted me to lie down on the sunbed, right? And I'm sitting there going, "Well," I says, "where do you want me to put my clothes?" And I said, "Just put them on top of mine." Well, she herself laughing. That broke the icing, that one, eh? So I says, I can't actually sideways because the mean big tackle was kind of kicking out the side. I couldn't get in a comfy position to get it. It's a wee bit embarrassing. But I still get guys showing me the daft pictures, me and my towel, and they're going, oh my God. They were the days, mate. They were the days. Brilliant laugh, brilliant laugh.
Were you just up for, like you've said already about being up for a laugh? Were you? Would you have done pretty much anything?
Oh, depends. It depends if she's worth it or not. I was always in for a laugh. We had some brilliant laughs, and when we went, up the Highlands tour, actually, when we played down in South, up in Kelso, and we went away up in the Highlands, we played, and we had some unbelievable carry on. And the banter played in Germany, and it was what a laugh. Absolutely brilliant bunch of boys. And even though I was there, it came to a sudden end after about 11 and a half years, and I was like in a black plastic bag with shoveling my boots and my stuff into my bag, and I went, and there was nobody there, and that's kind of hits home. You know what I mean? That you're now leaving a big club, and I was kind of it took me a while to go over it. You know what I mean? Just to be there for the last time.
Was there ever a thought of what would happen when you stopped?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's just maybe one thing I will probably say that there's a few regrets, and I wish I could change them. And I'm always people are always asking me, you're an ex-pro, and I work with a lot of people who used to work in coaches, and they're always wanting my expertise. I mean, what do I tell you when I didn't date myself? But I was learned for other guys, so it was I did really, regret leaving Hibs in the way, because I was still playing in the first team at the time. I got a slight abductor muscle problem in my groin, and I think Alec Muller thought I'd lost a wee bit my pace, and I think he was just saying, well, the time is right. 11 and a bit years is enough is enough. You know what I mean? I still get people sending me stuff saying, well, why did you not get a testimonial? And it was never ever mentioned. Bruce, I didn't think there'd be probably about a man in his dog would probably be there.
I think you're wrong there, my man. You are definitely wrong there.
I think, and the bus driver, Blakely, he could run my bus a 50 seater. Got my mum, my dad, my next door neighbour, the dog. You know what I mean? 5. So we're on look for 45 people.
you give yourself a hell of a hard time. Did you ever think about like with coaching or managing? Is that ever something that floated your boat?
No, not when I left. When I chucked football in 2001, I was doing a bit of coaching at Cowdenbeath with Keith Wright and Mickey Weir. Then I did some coaching at Stirling Albion there, my home team. But I was struggling to get find time to be with my family, because I'd like more or less 3 jobs at a time. I was doing a bit of radio, working, and doing some coaching, so I was never in the house. And it was a time my first kid was born in '95, and I thought, this is going to be tough this next couple of years, because you suddenly go from being a professional, you're in the house for 1 o'clock, thinking, what am I going to do this afternoon? I'll go and play snooker, or I'll go and play golf. Now it's like, join the real world, mate. And that was the biggest shock I've ever had. And it just makes, wake up as a big, massive wake-up call for me.
And how do you cope with that? Because for some of it was a struggle, wasn't it?
Oh, definitely. I mean, there's ups and downs at the start. There's ups and downs at the finish. But it's always in your, I've always now got a strong mind, because I've been there. I know how, to deal with things now. And I just wish I could have dealt with it when I was playing. And that was the biggest, regret. But every player, it's no rosy, is what they'll think, playing the Premiership. And, now especially, it's not all like that, especially up here. I know there's good money to be made in the Premiership up here, but elsewhere, it's not bad, the Championship. But, in the first and second divisions, it's not a lot of money going around, and you just there's times and there's boys doing the exact same. There's boys wrapped it. There's boys that have had really bad mental issues as well, and they just chuck it. because you don't know what's kind of life they've had, and this is why rather than keep it in, talk to people that can help you, and I think that's massive now. So, but as I say, you think back, I just try to remember the good things, mate, that when I was at Hibs. I can remember some brilliant goals I scored, and I can as if I did it, last night. I still got them in my mind, but I can always remember the little bad period I had, and I was struggling big time, and I was kind of lost for a while. So, but as I say, I'm not the only person it's happened to. So, but it's made me, the man I am today.
Are you a good supporter? Are you a good spectator? Do you like watching it?
Well, I've been working for about 20 years with Opta Perform, the stats. I don't know if you've heard this. We do the work for Sky, and I've been doing that for 20 odd years. So I've been going to. I used to do Hibs. It was Graham Mitchell who got me involved in that, and I've been doing that for 20 odd years now. So at the minute, I'm doing Stirling Albion games and staying in Smear. So because I'm local, they give you the local teams. So I miss going to Hibs. I've been to Hibs TV and I've done a couple of games there. It was brilliant. I've been to a couple of functions. I've been down to the London Hibs Supporters Club, which was amazing. I didn't know Hibs supporters down there, Bruce. And there's about 250. I was like going, "You're joking me." And I was like, they gave me the red carpet treatment. I was like, they always seem to, I find that when you've wrapped it, you get Maria kind of pat in the back and people loving you, but when you played, they give you pelters. That's what I mean. So I thought maybe I shouldn't have played. Maybe I should have been or something like that. Maybe party act at half time being the Coco the Clown, keeping the ball up and juggling and pick a card. But you definitely find that. But I definitely, when you go to Hibs, they definitely appreciate, and there's still guys to this day saying to me, they still text me saying, "Aye, they were shouting your name yesterday." It's like, didn't go there. I says, I didn't want to ask, what were they shouting? And Jojo, Shooter Joe, and I said, they seem to be doing that, but they didn't do it when I played. You know what I mean? So I think they respect, because I was kind of 100% guy, and I'd cut my right and left arm to play for the Cabbage. You know what I mean? There's no doubt about that. And I'm still a Hibs supporter. Still got all my laptop and my work stuff is all Hibs badges. I've got all the Hibs stuff on it. So I'm still a Hibs supporter, and I always will be.
Is there a moment in a changing room? Because the thing I loved, when you stop playing, but it's those moments that are only yours in a changing room. Is there a changing room moment that you remember, looking at the guys that you were with, or the feeling that you had? Is there a moment in a changing room you wish you could go back to?
I think with that one, Bruce, I think because when we were successful, I think that helps big time. And when we won the cup in '91, the Skull Cup, I was unfortunately, I didn't actually. That was a period when I was like losing it a bit, and I was more or less, what do you call it? Wasn't involved in any of the games. But I was at the semi-final. I was all at the games watching, but I was at the semi against Rangers when we beat them 1-0. And of course, we won the cup, and see the joy after winning something for all the years, and after the Hands Off Hibs campaign, Wallace Mercer tried to buy us and put us down the drain, and to win that cup against all odds, and with a big party in the bus, going back to Easter Road, there was 16,000 there, back to the hotel, big meal, all the drink, and everybody was just having a brilliant time. And I did you don't know this, but you've never heard about me doing my impressions, do you?
Yeah.
You never heard that, and that's the secret. You see, you're going to have to buy tickets for my next show. They're sold out. Another one of the 50, that was 50-seater bus, so we've got 5 left. So that's 8 that's gone. It's £2 a ticket. So I was doing my impression, the personnel and the players and all that, and managers and players, and it was absolutely brilliant. And it was just to see their faces, and when Murdo lifted the cup, and Murdo's been there before, and you just feel as though you're accomplished, and you see the supporters and how much it meant going down Leith Walk, and it was amazing. And it was probably the exact same feeling as 2016. You feel as though you're like, this is for the Hibs people. Everything is, we're all as a family, and that's the thing you don't forget.
Yeah, happy days, Joe. I've absolutely loved speaking to you. I've kept you far longer, and I think what I'm going to say to you is you'll need to come back for part 2, because we've never mentioned hands off Hibs. We've not mentioned what happened after. There's a whole load of stuff to get into, but you're an absolute joy to speak to.
Thank you for having me, mate. Enjoyed it.
Absolutely class. Joe Tortolano, take a bow.
Send the check in the post.
Ladies and gentlemen, how good is Joe Tortolano? He is Joe, Super Joe. I think he's right. I think we look back with rose-tinted specs, and we should, because he was 100%er, and he gave us heaps of good moments. Some of them dafter than others, but he's won ours, and we absolutely love him. I hope you've enjoyed it. This was all thanks to Colin Leslie's book, Beastie to Bestie to Belgium, which is available now from all good bookshops, and I think the phrase is even some bad ones. You can get the Hibs Club store, and you can get online at bigcartel.com. Search for Bestie to Beastie to Belgium by Colin Leslie. If you've enjoyed the podcast, you can catch us on Apple, Acast and Spotify, and you're going to be able to watch on Facebook and YouTube, because we're all over social media. Just search for Goals and Glory. I hope you've enjoyed it. I definitely have. I absolutely love the guy. My name is Bruce Aitchison from the Goals and Glory podcast. I look forward to speaking to you all again very, very soon.